I've made a lot of videos, 1,500, over 1,500 in the last 5.5 years. But this one is going to be considerably different because it's not so matter of me putting out a message, putting out some advice, putting out some information which is useful to you. What I want you to do in this one is actually take a part. Now, obviously, this is not a Zoom meeting, so you can't talk back to me. But what I can do is get you to find out a little bit about your real self by you doing an experiment. It's a simple enough experiment, but very difficult to actually do for most people. Because I'm going to get you to concentrate on something, and I'm going to ask you to concentrate on it fully, giving it your entire attention, not letting any thoughts arise within your mind about what you're looking at, no speculation, just focusing on what I'm showing you, or I'm going to show you. And I will ask you to do it for simply 1 minute, no longer than 1 minute. But you must be determined to actually carry out this little experiment. I want you to be fair dinkum, as the Australians say, fair dinkum about it. Give it a real effort, a real try. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you the face of a stopwatch. And I'm going to click the button, and the second hand will start going around the face of the stopwatch. After a minute, or maybe a bit over a minute, because I won't be able to see it, I'll have my back to the watch, I'm going to stop it, and we will continue on from that time. So here goes. Keep your hand, your focus on the watch. Keep it on the second hand. Your entire attention on that second hand. Right. I went for just over a minute there because I was still talking into the first part of that minute. Now, the question I ask you is this. I want you to be honest with yourself. Were you able to keep your entire attention on that red second hand as it went around the face of the stopwatch and not have any other thoughts arising in your mind as to what's this all about? That's a stopwatch. What makes it? Is his hand getting in the way? And all those sort of things. Were those thoughts arising? Or did you manage to keep your entire attention on the stopwatch all the way through? For a minute. If you did, then that is the real you. The real you with your will determined to look at this red second hand for a full minute. But the chances are, the very good chances are, that you didn't. That your mind wandered off in some way. some sort of rationalization. What's this all about, Tom? What's the experiment? In other words, your mind would not adhere to your will. You willed to yourself to watch that second hand, but something didn't like it at all. It took you away from it. It didn't like having to have its will thwarted by the real you. The real you was the person or the thing or whatever, the entity. The real you was the person wanting to concentrate and concentrating on the stopwatch hand. The ego self, the conditioned self, the self that pretends it's you and fights terrifically to keep itself in your mind as you, is the ego, the self-image, the conditioned self, the mind contents. You are not that. You are the center of awareness with a will. You need to remember that. Keep it at the forefront of your mind. You are a center of consciousness with a will. You're not the contents of the mind. You're not the conditioning. You're not the ego thoughts or the emotions arising. You are the determiner, the decider of your life. So you decide. Make sure that the real you decides on the decisions of your life and not your ego. I hope you got something out of this. Anyway, let me know in the feedback, in the comments. I'll be interested to know what you thought of this little experiment conducted by yourself.